Okay, Saxon Format class, it's time for lesson 44, multiplying two-digit numbers, part 1. So let's warm up with some mental math. Let's do some subtraction. 70 minus 45. I'm going to treat that like it's 50, and 70 minus 50 is 20, and I'm going to add back on 5, 25. Okay, 370 minus 125. I'm going to think, let's do hundreds first. 300 minus 100, that gets me down to 200. Now, 70 minus 20 would be 50. And take away 5 more, and you've got 245. Okay, powers. Look at this, the square root of 9. So think of a square that's made up of 9 small squares, and the root is the measure of one of those sides, and that's 3, right? So 3 is the square root of 9 minus the square root of 1. Well, 1 times 1 is 1, so the square root of 1 is 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Lisa purchased paint for $5.96 and brushes for $3.95. How much did she spend altogether? I'm going to go ahead and think of this as $6, okay? And I'm going to think of this as 4, and 6 and 4 is 10. And now I'm going to adjust. This was a nickel away, and this was 4 cents away. So I have to take away 9 cents from that $10. And so I have $9.91. To which number is the needle pointing on this scale? It's right between 400 and 500, so that would be 450. Okay, now think of our gallon house that we looked at last week. How many pints is a quart? Remember, in the gallon house, the Q's are the windows, and the P's are 2 people looking out each window. And that's how I remember that there are 2 pints in a quart. Choose the more reasonable estimate for the total capacity of a bathtub. 50 gallons. So think, could you take 50, gallons of milk and pour them in your bathtub, or 50 milliliters? Now, a milliliter is like the drop that you would squeeze out of a dropper. Think of a baby medicine dropper, and you squeeze the top, and the single drop comes out, and that single drop could fill up something the size of a centimeter cube. So if you chose 50 milliliters, well, you would only have 50 little drops of water in your bathtub. So obviously it's 50 gallons. Okay, calculation. Let's look. What I noticed right off the bat is that the 4 and the 6 will go together to make 10. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. I'm going to go ahead and do my hundreds, and I've got 5 and 3, so that'll be 800. Now let's do our tens. We've got 60 and 20, that's 80, but plus another set of 10 is 90, 890. Okay, problem solving. Each time Con cleans his aquarium, he drains some of the old water and adds 3 liters of fresh water. Con has a 5-liter container and a 2-liter container. How can he use those 2 containers to measure 3 liters of water? So think about that. You know the difference between 5 and 2 is 3. So which one should he fill up first? If he fills up the 5-liter container and pours some water into the 2-liter container until it's full, how much will be left over? Yeah, he'll have his 3 liters of water left over. All right, here we go. 42 times 3. We're going to show you the pencil and paper way. And I also like to get into this by tapping with my pencil. And I always start with the number that's next to the times sign on the bottom. And I tap my 3 and say 3 times 2. And that answer goes right down here, 6. Now I'm finished with the 2, okay? If you want to mark it out, you can. Now 3 times 4, that answers 12. Now sometimes if you get a 2-digit answer, you'll have to carry on to the next step, but there is no other step, so it just all falls down right here, and you have 126 as your answer. Now a good mental way to do this problem is to think 42 will break down into 40 and 2, right? So we can really break this down into 2 separate problems that are really easy, okay? And we already know how to do this. 3 times 4 is 12. but you add the 0 onto the end, so that's 120, and 2 times 3 is 6. And when you add those up in your head really fast, it's just a nice mental trick for mental math. And it shows you, go to the ones, then the tens, and if you had hundreds, then you would go to hundreds and thousands and so on. All right, here's a really good real world problem. The walls of a bedroom have already been painted. The rectangular ceiling measures 12 feet by 9 feet and still needs to be painted a different color. Now, each quart of paint covers 120 square feet. And when you buy paint for real, they will tell you how much that it's supposed to cover on the container. So the question is 1 quart of paint enough to paint the ceiling? So what we have to do is find out what the area is of a 12-foot by 9-foot ceiling. So we're going to do 12 times 9 with our new method. Here we go. We're going to even tap. I want you to get into the tapping. 9 times 2 is 18. So it's a lot like carrying in, addition. Okay, we're done with the ones place now. Now we're going to the tens. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 1 is 10. So you're going to add on whatever amount that you carry. You do multiplication here, and then you add on whatever's carried. So 108 square feet is the area of that ceiling. And the question is, if a quart covers 120 square feet, is 1 quart enough? And yes, it is. All right, let's do some practice. 31 times 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. We should be able to just whip through these really fast. 31 times 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, 42 times 4. Here we go. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. Next one. This one we can do in our head. Look. This is 0, and then 3 times 2 is, so it's 60. This one's easy too. 4 times 0 is 0, and 3 times 4 is 12, 120. Now look at this. 24 times 0. The chief takes over 0. And that's it, you guys. Okay, you need to go back now and check 43. So hit pause as you check 1 through 7. Hit pause as you check 8 through 24. Hit pause as you check 25 through 29. And hit pause as you check 30, and then you will be finished.